Kia ora, everybody. Welcome to our Te Ao Māori sessions. Today is 14th of April, and we are here with Tamahau and Pekaira to have one of our amazing sessions with them. And I'm Paula, and if you have any technical support, reach out to me. We have the chat window for questions if you have anything in the middle of the conversation that you want to check, and then at the end of the session, we're going to go through questions, and you can speak or you can write them down. And it's really nice to have you here, Tamahau and Pekaira, and I will pass it to you.
Kia ora koutou. First and foremost, I think it's right that we actually talk about nature to open up our session. So I'll do an affirmation that calls upon acknowledging really our connection to source, to the source, they say. And then after that, we'll get into the topic of our discussion. Okay. Puri tia mai rai te tāuru o te rangi, kia tina, kia ueda, kia toko te mana waura. Toko te mana waura ki hia, toko te mana waura ki runga, toko te mana waura ki raro, toko te mana waura o tēnei o ngā kāhui tangata, toko te mana waura o nai tātou o Aotearoa nei, toko te mana waora o tātou te tangata i te ao nei. Te hunga e no o mawiana, te hunga e no o taimaha ana, te hunga kua pāngia i tēnei ma te kino nei, tēnei ma te taureka reka nei. Tēnei ka ki, kia piki te tū, kia piki te ora, kia piki te kaha, me te māramatanga ki runga, ki tēnā o koutou, ki tēnā o rātou, ki tēnā o tātou. Haumi e, hui e, tai ki e. Basically, that there talks about puritia is to hold on to the source, hold on to the canopy of the heavens, and that we call upon that to settle our hearts and to strengthen us, to fix those things of natural beauty, those things of that'll make us feel calm, like watching the sunset, watching specific places and spaces, whether it be a lake and how calm the flow is, or the river, how calm the flow is, or listening to nature as the birds farewell the night, and the night birds welcome the time when they awake. So that's a karakia around making sure that we draw upon those things, which is handy because that's what we're talking about, nature, how nature within Māoridom is important. And it only tells us that the past could not be isolated from either the present or the future. And that in unity of the living with us and those who have passed on, is repeatedly emphasized in each generation. So even the discussion that I've had right now with you talks about the cosmology of the parenthood of the elements as they lay out for us every day. So even though we're in times of turmoil, nature still does its thing. And so if there's anything that's uplifting is watching how the sun still does its thing. It awakens in the morning, it sets. That certain birds, especially around my house, which is the hawk, comes, does its 3 little swoops, says hello, takes off. That the kiriru come here and say hello and do a bit of a flutter, depending how fat they are, and then they do their thing and take off. For us, those are signs. And about half, if not all, of that is encapsulated in metaphors, and not only that are demonstrated in our types of poetry which are locked in to our songs, our speeches, the incantation that I have just done. So to understand Māoridom is also to have an insight into nature. And that's the reason why we've talked about this tonight. What I'm going to do is just take you through a few areas that I know of around nature. So excuse me, I'm just trying to work with that thing called technology. And we'll see how we go. Okay. Can we see that?
Yes, we can see it.
What I'm going to talk to you about is why is it important that nature's part and, if not discussed, demonstrated in every part of our culture. This here is a picture of Taranaki, and this was utilised to tell the Crown in the land claims how important the mountain is, and still it was, still is, and will be for generations to come, and in this time and space now, for those who are living at this point in time. And so it goes, he puki au tā tahuarangi, he rua tā rua taranaki, he pau tā maru wakatare, he pau hoki tēnei, tā tēnei whakatupuranga, ko taranaki te maunga, ko taranaki te pauheringa tangata, ko te punai heke mai ai te tangata, e kore hoki e taia he mate, no te iwi ko tahi no e nei iwi o Taranaki. Ka te roll down, what it's saying is that Taranaki is the pillar. The Taranaki is the pillar, and that there are different families that come off that, whether they be off maru or rua, tahuarangi. The important thing is that it's a pillar for this generation. It was a pillar for the generation gone. And that Taranaki is the mountain. Taranaki is the font that all men come from. And so what they're saying is that Taranaki is bound together by that one pillar, and its name called Rua Taranaki. So what they've said to the Crown, what they've said to their, and demonstrated amongst their own people, that this is not about money, that it's never ever been about the fiscal approach to claims or fiscal approach to kaitiakitanga, which I mentioned in the last one. This is about what sense of purpose do we have to the connectability to nature itself. And that nature is known in a non-Māori term, but in Māori terms, it is my relation. It is an ancestor in which I can say that I come from. That in the genealogy of all things, that we are all connected, whether it be living, or whether it be living like us as in humans, or whether it be the animal world, or whether it be structure, or whether it be land, or whether it be water. And our people defined it in such that we were always reminded of the connectability that we have with place and space and with the elements of the world and beyond to the universe. This is a quick one about Taranaki. I'm not quite sure if that was quick, but we'll get there. This one here is called Whai au manganui o te ao kia tau ai ki runga ki a rua pehu. Ki ngā turi o more mutu ko te ahi kā o pairagi i te whare toka. I puta mai ai i arangi tuhia, arangi te au ia me ue nuku mana wawiri. This is Ruapehu. Ruapehu is made up of 3 mountains, for those ones who aren't aware of that, which you can see the 3 peaks. in our narrative, there are 3 individual mountains that make up Koro Ruapehu. And then as you get closer to the mountain, they call it Koro, as in your koro that you go and see, who gives you the lolly, or moro, or something, or clipper and ease. In the same humanistic relationship with koro that you have with your grandparent, the people around the mountain refer to the Ruapehu as koro. This here talks about, I search through the Manganui o Te Ao. Manganui Te Ao is the east stream that comes off past Raitihi and goes all the way down onto the Whanui. And it was a pathway in which the old people would take to get to the mountain. But what this says is, Ruapehu ki ngā turi o Moremutu. Te turi o Moremutu is a little square hill when you're coming from Waihuru all the way through to Ohakuri. For those ones who are overseas, excuse me, you might not know what I'm talking about. For those ones in New Zealand, I'm trying to explain, when you come in from Waihuru towards Ohakuri, you'll see Koro Ruapehu on your right. On your left, you'll see a square type hill, and that's called Te Turi o Moremutu. And that there is a connection between Taranaki and Ruapehu. What this is saying here is that of this mountain comes the descendants, and their names are Rangi Tuhia, Rangi Tiauria, and Uenuku Manawawiri. And that's to the mountain. The next one is actually on the Whanganui River, and it's a famous saying that you'll hear. No matter where if you know the people from Whanganui, they'll say part of it or all of it. And it goes, e rere kau mai te awa nui, mai te kāhui maunga ki Tangaroa, ko au te awa, ko te awa ko au. The great river flows from the mountain to the sea. I am the river, and the river is me. This statement here is a forever statement, because the ones that said that have all passed, majority of them. But we're still saying it now. And so anybody who is related to Ruapehu or to Taranaki or to Whanganui will know that there's a narrative that goes to the creation of the mountains that incorporates all those mountains in the central plateau and the one to the west, which is called Taranaki. And we call this Te Awa Tupua. And there's a saying in there that it is an indivisible, living whole comprising the Whanganui River from the mountain to the sea, incorporating the tributaries and all the physical and metaphysical elements. So whilst it's physical, there's the metaphysical and how it relates to and connects to cosmology and how it connects to our being and understanding of our place in the world. This one here is Te Awa Kairangi for those in Wellington. It's just on your back doorstep. Te manakohi o Te Awa Kairangi. Manakohi, again, I've shared this with the fellows, is localized knowledge. The knowledge that you find and that you soak up as a child with your parents, that you bring in, that is easily and palatable for you to understand. And that type of knowledge is called manakohi. And this manakohi for Te Awa Kairangi is understanding that at that rapid, which we call a ripo, at the kaupoia is where the water spirals around and holds in a mess, usually at the end of a rapid. And then when it flows out, there's a particular narrative or discussion. These things here are very important because we know in our knowledge, it's passed down, that everywhere there was a rapid, there was a settlement. That rapids were really, really fundamental on where we placed people in their communities or in today's new word, in their bubbles. And so when they were in the settlements, they knew that the rapid was the closest place that they would want to be with. And in our understanding, that is usually where there is a filtering system that's happening. And where there's a filtering system, we know that we have an opportunity to be upriver to do cleaning, and more downriver, upriver for eating and whatever, drawing water from, depends if it's there or at a puna, or downriver for washing. But those are just minor things, but that gives you an interaction that you have and the understanding of which deity or which element lives in those kind of areas, which we'll be talking about at the last one was what's kaitiakitanga. And when I discussed that in the last webinar, and understanding kaitiakitanga and manakohi are very much how do you understand your backyard? How do you understand where you go to do the fishing? Where do you go to do the washing? Where do you go to ask for permission to enter into that space? Whether it's the water or whether it's the mountain, whether it's collecting toi toi, or whether it's collecting harakeke, whether it's collecting puha, watakarihi, watercress, depends on what the actual thing is, different types of manakohi. What I'm trying to get put across here is that word manakohi is very, very fundamental to understand before we even get to talk on behalf of. Because some people go into an area, look at it and go, lovely, but they do not know the narrative of the place. They do not know that for 100, 200, 300, 500 years, that's been a spot where they've gone to do all the blessings and iri iri. They do not understand that that specific rapid is a rapid that there is a kaitiaki there. And I'm going to explain to you the difference between kaitiaki, and it's in the metaphysical, the spiritual, then the physical. Because some people get it mixed up, depending on how they're saying it. So this is the manakohi o Te Ao Kairangi. This is the manakohi o Tangaroa. So why I'm showing this is that whilst you're inland, ki uta it's called, when we say ki tai, there's a knowledge base that sits in the sea, in the custodian and element of the sea called Tangaroa, that we need to be aware of. One, for safety, otherwise you drown. Two, for your own personal safety getting back home because you haven't got a fish or a crayfish to take home to feed your people. And three is that when you take people into that realm, you've got to do it in safety. So tikanga is common sense. It is protocols, practices that is common sense around safety and accessing the element in which you're going into. Funnily enough, this is not funny, it's not the right saying. Interesting enough, all of that nature is brought into this space here, into the marae. And this is something that EHF probably need to do a lot more of, is to show how we've taken all the elements of nature and put them into one spot as narratives to guide us in whatever ritual or procedure needs to happen. And so even before you walk in, these two pillars here at Waifetu are very fundamental to talk about the elements of nature, whether it be the wood, which is we call tāne, whether we call the eyes of the manaia, these are called manaia, and the manaia is usually a serpenty type figure, which relates back to Tangaroa, whether the eyes, which are made out of pawa, which relates back to Tangaroa. Before you even get there, you're greeted by nature, as interpreted by the local people in the interactions with those elements. And then going on to the marae itself, it's around, okay, the whole ritual itself is guided by nature. And what it does is it draws upon individual marae. So if I go back to this other one, that's the marae in its physical form before everybody gets there, that is personified. So the house is absolutely personified to be depicting an ancestor. Whether it's a prophet, whether it's a specific ancestor who did some great deeds for the local people, it's usually someone, or somebody, some lady, some male somewhere, that's able and was able to bring the people together. Because when we sit inside the house, you're actually sitting inside the well, I would say, I don't know that kind of word, I haven't used that word for a while, the bosom, or inside what we call the whare tangata, the house of that specific ancestor that was known to unite the people together. So why I talked about this whole session, and the name of the session, is because to know Māoridom is one, to know our language, because in there, the poetry that we use also talks about welcoming the sun, farewelling the sun, acknowledging the time that the tuna comes, farewelling the tuna when it goes over to the kermadecks into the trenches, talking about the piharo, the lamprey, it's talking about the specific birds as they whistle, as they huana, and huana is scream, a specific scream of the pukeko. As they scream, it's a symbol for us on things going on. And so all these things are interactions by observation. Interactions by observation, and in observation is knowing how to interact with that specific element and all the children's within that element. So if it's for the birds, we know it's the wood, which Tāne, everything in the house of Tāne in the forest is related back to the interactions that our ancestors have passed down through songs, through incantations, through rituals, that are all there, but sometimes it gets overpowered by time, by other people's expectations, by other people's interpretations. But these rituals are there to create balance between us, the elements, and each other. This one here, it's got nothing to do why I'm in the front. It's just about how do we take all of that and we pass that on, not to me, but to the young ones that were behind me. And so all the elements, these kids are starting to understand that it's okay to have ega, which is the element of strategy, energy. It's okay to be sullen when we're doing a specific song, because that song has a narrative that reminds us of yesterday and how to cope with sorrow, with loss. And so those pockets of emotion, are things that are explained and defined by nature. Good. Any questions? Basically, what I was trying to tell you is that to come into the Māori world, just to see it for its face value is to have a look at the forest. Have a look at the people associated to that forest, to that water, to that mountain, to that estuary, to that puha patch, to that watercress patch, to the places that they went and got certain food, certain rituals, because that is the manakohi that is built up. So one thing I wanted to say just before I hand over to the tuahine for her views on this, is that kaitiakitanga, it was asked of me last time, different areas have different interpretations on what that is. Not to say one is better than the other, one is right or one is wrong. But I'm sharing with you the interpretation that we have in Taranaki, Whanui, Ngā Rauru, is that kaitiaki tanga, or kaitiaki, that the word kaitiaki, which means guardian, are those things that are left to the elements, to nature to take care of. Whether it's a specific kaitiaki at that rapid, usually there's a kaitiaki there, whether there's a certain fish that lives around it, that you go and ask, is it okay to come and take some of your kids or something to eat? Those are the elements of that supernatural area, natural phenomena that we see, linked into the physical of the fish or whatever it is. When it comes to people, we call those ones tangata tiaki. And so tangata tiaki is the guardians as we know now. Because we're the physical people that need to make sure that those things are kept and guarded and nurtured and looked after. The difference between this and those ones who I used to work in, the Ministry for Environment, is that sometimes the interpretation of kaitiakitanga, of guardianship, is to ban people from going there, which goes against our philosophy, because here I am saying that we are connected to, that we're in there. This is our genealogical connection to, our years and years of the place that we used to go to. And then there's a law that comes in and says we need to have conservation here. And so we'll go in and say you can't go there for 3 months and we'll come and guard it for you. Well, actually, that's not really how it works. What it says is we do put rahui on, but just for the right to let things replenish itself. But our people were there to watch and look and see and view and be a part of that environment. So tangata tiaki is our word for us as people who go in there. If you go up to Rotorua, they call them te hunga tiaki. And they're the people who go through, who know the land inside out, the water inside out. Each different iwi have a different version, and God bless them on all their different versions. This is our version. So, tuahine, haiapu.
Ai, kia ora, tēnā tātou, e rawe tungane, e rawe te rongo. So this is very, very real and very near and dear to not just Māori, but all indigeneity who have that same viewing around the taonga of their own environments in whatever shape or form that is for them. We as Māori have had an intricate and holistic interconnected relationship with the natural world and its resources, with a knowledge base of mātauranga Māori that's been associated to it. And it's been developed over thousands of years, in fact dating back as far as the Polynesian, our connections to Polynesia, and as far back as that migration period from Polynesia to Aotearoa. So we came already with a set of knowledge base from those spaces and places. And then it grew when we became and recognised and realised the tangata tiaki space here within Aotearoa. And beautiful, beautiful that is. And it's this ancestral traditional bond that links us to the ecosystem, that guides us and provides for us. and it governs how we see and understand the ecosystem. It's services to us, but it's not a one-way. It's never ever been a one-way journey, like other cultures past had ever perceived that relationship be, even present day. And we're thankful for fellows such as yourself and many others who have now come to a place and time and space and time for yourselves whereby you are now of the mind and of the understanding that there is much, much more within our environmental structures to what our ancestral knowledges had basically left for us to understand. And so that's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And so thank you to one and all. And there'll be many, many more. I mean, Cheryl's presently in a space and place, and thank you, Cheryl, for today's hui. And it's very exciting to see that there are pockets of people who absolutely do recognize and understand that there is a reciprocity in movement if we are to be one with our environment, with our world. And it will impact on what we leave for our children and grandchildren, for our tomorrows. So I think that's about my little that I can add to Tamahau's puka puka. But no, rawe. Thank you, Tungani. And thank you, fellows.
Just another thought is there. Today I had to be the science teacher for my my daughter. And I'm not a science teacher. I don't proclaim to be a science teacher. But in this kind of climate, I've got to be adaptable. And so I said to her, I couldn't be in a song. And so the song that I could talk to her was one that talks about, and we've made it up, about hine pukohurangi, the clouds, hine te wai tōta, the element that holds on to when hine pukohurangi hands over the water to her and then gives it to the mountain. And then the mountain itself, Parawengu Wambea, hands over the water to Tāne Te Waiora, and then Tāne Te Waiora hands over the water to Tangaroa Tai Wenua, to Tangaroa Tai Moana, to these different elements of nature. And I don't know how to do it in scientific terms, but I do know how to talk about it in a waiata. And I do know how to talk about it, how it's been given to us, Pekaira and myself and others, in waiata form, in karakia form. And when we talk about it, it makes sense to us that when we follow the cycle of water, we follow the cycle of life. And then if we don't look after the water, because water is one of the major things that we talk about in our poetry, within our language. And so the mere fact that we have this word called wai, and that wairua is spirituality, and the genealogy of where wairua comes from, and whether it's in the physical or the spiritual, indicates to us that we've got to continually have water, the elements and nature in the front of us, plugging on to keep connected to and to look after as tangata tiaki. Our language does talk about it. There's a sentence that goes, e te rauhuia kai manawa. And e te rauhuia kai manawa talks about a bird that is extinct now, and is no longer here, the huia bird. That partakes, that eats your heart. It's actually a love song. So our old people knew that the huia was highly prized, highly acknowledged bird, and so they utilised that in our waiata about love. E te huia kai manawa. because when you hear the bird, when you see the bird, it actually hits you in the heart. And so we utilize that image and that metaphor to explain our now. And going back to the beginning of my discussion, is it doesn't matter whether it's in the past, whether it's in the present, whether it's in the future, we take our dead with us. We take our dead with us and we acknowledge them in the past and in the now. And then hopefully I will be acknowledged with my great-great-children in their present on contributing to their life, contributing to the knowledge, to contributing to manakohi. In that, we say we have immortality. Kia ora mai.
Lovely.
Pekaira Tamahau, I wonder if we can do like a session where we sing Wayatas and you teach us about, you can be our science teacher as well, and we can learn through a Wayata. I think we will love that.
I'll ask the tuhini to, what's in the next webinar? Let's walk away with a short Wayata that we can put out there that actually explains the topic. And that's what the great composers of Māori did in times like the coronavirus, composed things when the Spanish flu came in. Te rewharewa, what we refer to as te rewharewa. There were waiata that were composed so that we remember to remember. Yeah. And I don't think we're going to forget what's happening in this last month.
I think that's a really interesting topic because I think something that for me personally like caught my attention really like a lot. It was all of the proverbs and wayatas and how the Maori word talks to the world with proverbs. And how much the meaning and wisdom those like few words contain. So that just comes to my mind that we can do a topic, like a session around that, around wayatas, around proverbs, that I know that we use them a lot.
Yeah. So just like a little ditty that we utilize, it goes, Puhana tonga riro, e rere nei wanganu, ko te wai inu te ena, orua tipua inua e. Basic, all it says is that the water froths from the fountain of Whanui, and its name is ko te wai inu orua te tipua. And so when I learnt that song, I thought, well, I've got to go and see where this puna is. So I did a climb to the peak of Tongariro, and then went down to where the first emergence, where the fountain, the puna we call, of Whanganui is, which is called Rua Te Wai Unu, the drinking fountain of Rua Te Tipua of the Whanganui River. So those things are like signs in our minds. Okay, you're going to sing about it. You best be going and have a look at it, and say hello to it. Mind you, it took me 8 hours to get to it, but because it's a lot on the rough area around the mountain. But those are the types of things that our olds leave you a song, and you're singing the song, and then you think,
Yes.
I sing about it, I better go and see it. Same with Taranaki, read the song there, went up to Taranaki, up to Ruapehu, Aoraki. I went up onto Aoraki. I didn't climb that one, I flew up on top. But those are those things that give inspiration that we aspire to do something about it. And we need to sing about it. We need to tell ourselves about it to aspire to look after our connections and the environment. We won't get it right all the time. But I think the environment's telling us something in this last month.
Thank you for sharing, listening you. Apart from your beautiful speech, Tamahau and Pekaira, but just listening you singing moves a lot. Have been shared with you before, like but it's beautiful, beautiful listening songs in your language and listening your voice. I just want to open the space for questions. If you have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself and be part of this conversation.
I had a question. I was on a call with Jays, who's also a fellow. And he mentioned that there are a lot of similarities between Maori and Hindu, which is the Indian cultures. I was wondering if there's any literature which you people know which captures the similarities. Anything that you've come across in the past? I would love to read that.
Tamahau and Pekaira, Jace or Chepatu is on the New Fellows, Cohort 6, and he's Wellington based, and he has he's a yoga teacher and meditation, and he's like, I don't know if you know him, but
yeah. We know not him personally, but God and I know the family really well within the Taranaki and Whanui area. The Patu family. Getting back to that, hey, look, there's quite a, as far as I have heard in part of my research that I've done in the years around mountains, around statues, around things that come to a point. And so part of my master's was around what was the thing around height? What was the thing around purity at the highest level? Indigenous people of the world actually resonated with, whether it be a mountain, Mount Sinai, in a biblical form, whether it be the Egyptians in the pyramid, whether it be a statue that is over a temple. There was something about height. And so being my science teacher that I was today, the thing that I was teaching my daughter was around following water is the absolute understanding of purity. For us, and our understanding is that the water is given in its purest form. It's just us as men, as humans, stuff that up a bit. But when it's given to the highest form, usually rituals are done at that place. No matter what religion, no matter what indigenous people of the world. And at that point, people try and connect to their God, to the element. So there's quite a bit around that actually talks about rituals and religion. And there's quite a lot of stuff. The main one that's here in New Zealand that captured it in the day around the 1840s or 1825s, the 1840s, where the British came into New Zealand, was a man named Elsden Best, or late 50s, 1850s. Elsden Best. So he did a lot of recording of stuff before it was infiltrated between people's understanding of religion that came over and belief systems that were already here. And so I think he does, there's about 2 or 3 books called The Laws of the Whare, done by Elsden Best. I've got a page here, and I'll flip that to you, or to Paula tonight.
Yeah.
Great discussion. And I'm going to be quiet because I know I'll just keep going on and on and on and on and on. But I do love the idea about what do we share in commonalities, and why were we told to keep those kind of things hidden, when actually they are some of the things that unlock the beauty to understanding the environment, not so much man-made things. But oh well, it's a lifetime journey.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But I would have a similar question, I guess, we don't necessarily need to go into a huge amount now, but I often wonder about the similarities between like the Celtic and Māori, so, you know, pre-Christian teachings. And I just naturally, like intuitively feel like such a strong resonance. You know, I feel so much. I mean, I can't, you know, easily go back to all my Irish roots, but I feel so much more comfortable on a marae when I have that opportunity than I do in a Christian church, you know. And I think it's so that's something that's often just in the back of my mind as I listen and learn and have this opportunity to hear your teachings is thinking, okay, I wonder what, I suppose my ancestry, you know, pre-Christian would be saying in a similar situation. So it's not so much a question, just an observation and something that why I guess I feel so drawn to these discussions and to these experiences.
Awesome. I mean, I loved having those kind of discussions, and I know we have got time now, but the thing for us is the things that happen to witches around the world and the things that happen to our tohunga, which was the Tohunga Suppression Act, are very similar. About how those people who had a different way of viewing the world and cosmology and the creation were put to death or had to go underground. So listening to some of the stuff in the Irish and all the different indigenous people of within their lands is absolutely really, really beautiful, because then you get an understanding to their language,
Nice.
or way of being.
Yeah.
So it really resonates with me. I get really excited to hear that kind of stuff.
Anita, did you have a question?
Well, first again, thanks a lot for the sessions and everything you share with us. I have a question related to the situation right now, coronavirus. I mean, you speak about the balance of the elements and us being part of nature, and nothing just happens like that. I mean, there's a purpose of everything which is happening to us. So from a Maori perspective, how do you look at the current situation? What do you think is, how do you react to it? And where do you see the future, so the opportunity coming out of it?
Sure, good question. Tuhine, you want to start?
I would like to say that perhaps the coronavirus could have come a few years ago. No. But no, absolutely. I'm just saying this for the little pockets that we integrate with and we work with. That conversation has been happening for a long time, just around how we can't continue, and you know, we know that we can't continue the way we've been going. Something has to give, and it is evident that that's whakaaro, that control, in essence, belongs to our environmental state over and above any other state.
Yeah, I think Tuhine, and the question as you put it across, what it has said to us, and for me personally, it was this situation has told me to come home. Come home and be cleansed by the waters of your ancestors. Come home and be safe amongst your own surroundings. Learn to love yourself and your family. Not that I don't love them, but to be around them, because I'm always gone. Dad's always gone somewhere around New Zealand, around the world. And it's okay to be in a bubble. It's okay. Learn to look after your bubble. And when we talk about the bubble, we're not just talking about the situation we're in. Learn to look after the environment that you are situated in. That's your bubble. If we all looked after our bubbles, the environment, like the creeks that are next to us, and do some stuff there towards the river, because I'm just like a stone throw away from the river. If we all can look after our own bubbles and contribute, the bubble gets bigger. This whole thing is actually said to us, lockdown is a traditional way of actually saying, first look after those things at home. Teach ourselves to be careful. How do we see it from nature's perspective? I think nature's rejoicing.
Mm-hmm.
You've seen it all throughout the world. Nature is rejoicing in the beauty to have silence. You know, the birds are actually saying, what's going on? There was this bird that I used to hear every day called a train, and it's no longer going anymore, or a bus. So nature itself is actually having a breather. The biggest question for us is, what is life going to be after we get out of this kind of situation?
Absolutely.
In regards to the environment. Because we've always asked, working in the environment, Ministry of Environment, the Māori have always said that we needed to have time to actually to look after the place as we know how to do it. But because the dollar overshadowed the economics, finance, and all that kind of stuff, business, the movement of a country superseded that of environment. So I think from our view, it's a great breather for the elements. I know specifically now, if I look outside my house, over onto the Whanui River as it goes out to the sea, that the colours that the river's coming down in is beautiful. These greeny, bluey, and obviously that's when the tide's coming in as well, but when it's going out, it used to be absolutely mud colour. There's different colours coming through. I'm hearing things happening in the little creeks just behind my house. I went to check for the tuna and see if the tuna was there. And some of them are having a good old joyful swim around the place. Not that I was touching them, I just let them go. Wasn't that hungry. Great question though. And I think all the Indigenous people of the world will be asking that question, not just the Indigenous people, humanity.
Yeah.
Humanity is asking the same questions. Reporters haven't got anything to report on, so they're reporting on the birds that are whistling in cities, and water that is in certain cities, big cities of the world are coming clearer. But that's something that a lot of people have been saying for a long, long time. Just give the environment a bit of a breather, and then let's treat it a bit more differently thereafter. Kia ora.
Thank you.
Kia ora, thank you. It's time. So thank you so much for being here and for attending this session. It's such a pleasure to have you all here. It's every session gets better and better. So thank you so much. Do you want to finish with a blessing, Tamahau?
Yeah. Okay. So what I'm going to talk about is giving back, and giving back this discussion to the backbone, what you call the tāhuhu, giving it back to the backbone of the house, which is the heavens, the sky, and everything that comes from it. And I'll be talking about the cycle of the water, because that's something that we connect to no matter where you are in the world. It's the connector of all things is water. And so those are the one things that what I wanted to talk about is giving back, and to draw upon that on each and one of in our families that is on this Zoom, that we are safe, that we are able to look to tomorrow with those things in mind, safety, protection, and the love. No rea tēnā koutou. Koe ia ki runga, koe ia ki raro, tēnā te wakatairanga ki ue, tēnā te wakatairanga ki te rangi nui e tūnei, ki te tāhuhu o te rangi. Ki te tāhuhu o te rangi, he kei o mai rā ki te rā o tamanui te rā. Tamanui te rā, tēnā te o atu rā ki hine pukohurangi, te rā, te panātu rā ki te rā, ko hine te waitota. Hine te waitota, heke i o mai te ua patapata mai rā, ki runga i te rā o parawenua me. Parawenua me, tēnā, te tohaina rā, te puaina anō rā, ko te wai e rere ana. E rere ana ki uta, e rere ana ki tai. Te rā anō, ko te rā tānei te wai ora heke i o mai rā, ki runga tangarota i wenua tangarota. O atu rā, panātu rā, te mauri ora, te wai ora, ki hine te wai waka eto. Ana tuku haere anō rā ki te hine e kōrero nei ko puku kōhurangi. Tēnei ka tau mai. Tau mai te mauri, tau mai te koro wai ki runga ki tēnā o tātou. Ka puta, ka ora, ka noho haumaru, ka noho ora ai tātou ka tō hauie. Ie, e rogo e waka iri ia ki runga kia. Tīnā. Haumea hui e.
Tai kia.
Go, be well, and we'll see you on the next webinar.
Thanks a lot.